What I want to talk about now is a survey that went out to all the subscribers on this show about what Keir Starmer said in his speech, in which he said effectively that if you don't support his leadership, then you should leave the party. And I wanted to find out what Labour members felt about this. So I'm going to show you the results of our survey, and then we're going to speak to some of the people who filled in, who replied and want to speak. Firstly, I'm just going to show that this is a very interesting result to me. That this is the first question in the survey. What's your relationship with the Labour Party? These are people who've subscribed to this Zoom, but also people who have been going to stand up for Labour events that I put on for 10 years beforehand. Only 38% of 2,346 subscribers are Labour members now. 45% have already resigned. 6% have never been a member. 1% are suspended. 5% are expelled, and 5% other. There's always someone who's got other. But you can see from there that already a substantial number of people have already resigned from the Labour Party. Now, the next question is, this is just Labour members, and I've managed to find 890 Labour members from the subscribers. And this is a question: are you considering leaving Labour after Keir Starmer's speech? 43% are considering leaving Labour after his speech. 41% are not, and 29% other. So he's obviously made a big impact there if he wants people to leave. And these are some of the other questions. This is all the subscribers. Do you think Keir Starmer has ruined the Labour Party since he became leader? Yes, 84%, pretty conclusive. Do you think Keir Starmer has too many yes men or women in his shadow cabinet? Yes, 88%. Do you think the EHRC report into anti-Semitism in the Labour Party provides grounds for Keir Starmer to stop Jeremy Corbyn standing as a Labour candidate? No, 91%. This is quite a shocker, really. Will you vote Labour in the next general election? No, 48%, 30% other. Only 22% of subscribers, 2,000 that is, 2,346. It's the largest survey that I've had in response ever. Only 22% will vote Labour in the next general election. These are all people who have been active in Labour, would not vote Labour. It's incredible. And this is, do you think Jeremy Corbyn should stand as an independent candidate if Labour's NEC rule he can't stand in Islington North? Yes, 81%. So, I mean, the idea that only 20% of people who subscribe to this channel will vote Labour, it's pretty spectacular result. Now I'm going to speak to one or two people who responded to the survey. How are you doing? How are you doing, Francis?
I'm doing fine, really. As far as leaving the Labour Party is concerned, I'm not going to please Keir Starmer by leaving the Labour Party. Sod him. He's my MP. He has absolutely refused to speak to me for 2 years, and I've been trying to get to talk to him. I think that it's an outrage, but also it's something that walking out reinforces rather than opposes. The whole issue around Jeremy Corbyn and all the rest, of course, I completely oppose it. Who I think should be the leader of the Labour Party is an issue that we should actually be able to talk about and discuss. As far as being Jewish is concerned, which I am fairly disgusted that Starmer won't speak to me. He clearly is trying to avoid expelling me from the party. I'm a lefty Jew. The Board of Deputies don't like me because I'm one of the people who supports the Palestinians. I come from a Palestinian Egyptian background. My family came from Egypt and all spoke Arabic extremely loudly. And so there are many, many Jews, and a lot of them are on the streets in Israel at the moment demonstrating against the government, who are effectively Middle Eastern Jews. They're either Palestinians or they're Egyptian or whatever. And one of the Sephardi Jews One of the characteristics of all of us is that we travel around a lot and move about quite a bit, not always because we're forced to, but because that is a part of a culture, which was how my family came from Egypt here in the early 1920s. So I think that there is a kind of nasty blindness going on and a completely insulting and disgraceful prejudice going on in with my MP in the Labour Party, and that we should stay there and hang in and refuse to leave. If he's listening to this programme, he's probably spying on it. Come on, Keir, come and expel me. It would be fun, and in some ways maybe a relief. I
Yeah.
just I will
Well,
not walk.
I think that's a good point. I mean, I did get that there were quite a few people who saw that it was a good thing to stay and fight in a sense to make it difficult. Another one was Carol Vincent, who obviously Starmer would be delighted to see you at the next party conference. Carol, isn't that right? Are you going to be a
Well,
delegate again?
yes, I'm hoping to book my ticket. It's whether I get past the security test or not. When I made my contribution in 2021, as you may remember, my expectation was that the following day I'd get that email to say you're out. It hasn't happened, so I've continued to pay my dues. I've continued to be very active because I am probably a thorn in their side. As a left-wing Jew, as a socialist, as someone who's not afraid to speak out and speak up, I will continue to do so. But the most important thing at the moment is that I have a fantastic CLP, and we do loads of amazing work on the ground. So we are currently collecting for strike funds and food banks. And just yesterday at the Leyton Orient football ground, around £200 was collected by some comrades. We are still, anti-war. We are still not being shut up at our branch meetings and at the GC. We are passing motions, and I think I am going to continue to stay in this party and do what the party was set up to do, and that is support striking workers for better pay and conditions. It is also about putting those motions forward and getting into conference and, being that thorn in the side of these people who want an easy ride to either, completely smash this party into oblivion or to move it in the direction that they want. Well, if they have no resistance, that will happen. And we are the resistance and will continue to be. And, East Ham and West Ham CLPs were suspended and expelled and so on and so forth. So they are now, the Socialist Labour party or movement in East Ham and West Ham, and doing great work. But, I personally, I've got my card, I've paid my dues, and until they decide to get rid of me or try and get rid of me, I'm staying, and that's all there is to it.
Right. Well, thank you, Carl. I'm just aware of the time, but
Yeah.
I like the idea that we sort of say if Starmer wants us to go, we're not going, because why would we do what he wants us to do? The next part of this show is a good bit, because we've got someone who's got an initiative regarding Keir Starmer. Jim Breeze, you wrote to me to talk about an online campaign you've got from the organised Corbyn Socialist Alliance, which is gathering lots of support. Can you tell us what the campaign is online?
Well, we started on the 15th of February, Crispin. Thanks for having me on, by the way. I'm not media trained. I just say that genuinely. We started on the 15th of February. The idea is this, that Keir Starmer has interfered in his neighbouring constituency, as far as I can see. He has interfered in Islington's business.
Yeah.
That is not his place, even if he is the leader. That is the place of the Islington constituency Labour Party. What that means is that, and it follows from all the discussions that you've had, all the troubles that we are having, all these arguments about anti-Semitism, Palestinian rights, etc. It follows from that. It follows from our trade union brothers needing support on the picket lines. It follows from that. There must be retaliation. And it's about time we got up of our backsides and actually retaliated. And my view of this retaliation is we make it personal. And I believe it was I think it was the French trade unionist said, well, we're going to cut off the power supplies of the politicians themselves. We will target them. My idea is that we go to, and this is reaching out with the greatest of respect to Holborn St Pancras and Francis Rifkin, I'm sorry, but I think we need to do it a different way from the outside, and it may help you, you never know. But the point is, if we mount a candidate of sufficient stature, and we haven't found him yet, in Holborn St Pancras against Keir Starmer, just there, it saves all the discussions that are being had, all the problems that we have in forming a national new party or working from inside the Labour Party. It solves those problems. We're just mounting a campaign in Holborn St Pancras. It's against Keir Starmer. It's against the Tories as well, obviously. We're anti-Tory. We're anti any other parties that are standing in Holborn St Pancras. And the idea is that we get him out. Now, what are the likely outcomes and consequences of that? One, we could lose our deposit and all walk away with egg on our faces. That's why it needs to be a large movement. That's why it needs to be substantially backed. That's why I need to get my organisation in gear with crowdfunding, with a committee, with various officers, and we need to get, you know, a hefty campaign. Then we need to approach a candidate. And that, I'm not mentioning any names at the moment, but there are people who live in Holborn St Pancras who we would be reaching out to. There are national figures that we may reach out to, and they have to be able to take the possibility of looting. And I was going through the options of what could happen. Well, all right, so that's the worst case scenario, we lose our deposit. The second scenario is that we win. And then we've got and I quote, you know, the Martin Lewis figure, he may not necessarily have been strictly from the left, but he was certainly somebody who upset the apple cart in a constituency. And the third scenario is that we cut Keir Starmer's majority and he loses to the Tories. Well, if it's predicted that there's going to be a Labour victory, we've succeeded in at least one of our aims, which is to remove that dangerous man from the head of the Labour Party. Now, he's a puppet, as far as I can see, but if we remove the puppet, maybe we remove the puppet masters, or we've got a chance of removing the puppet masters.
Yeah.
And lastly, the outcome could be that we reduce his majority. Simply, it's 18,000 as I understand it at the moment. That was under Corbyn. He was elected with his substantial, cushy majority under Corbyn. Now, I have spoken to some people in Holborn St Pancras, and they're obviously contacting me because I'm sticking my hooter in their patch. And what one person said to me, well, you know, we don't want loads of socialists going around knocking doors in Holborn St Pancras. Well, that just summed up his attitude. Another person said to me, well, it's a very middle class Labour constituency. Well, the middle class are being shafted as much as the working class nowadays. And as I said, 18,000 of them voted in excess of the overall vote, and they were voting on the Corbyn manifesto. So that middle class was prepared to accept a socialist manifesto. So if can I just, as the last bit, read out what I say in our about section? It's very short. As a result of the founded on the 15th of February, Starmer issued a decree that Corbyn was not to be the Labour Party candidate for Islington. This is our response. A blow against one of us is a blow against us all. For this reason, this group was set up to mount a candidate in any forthcoming parliamentary election in the constituency of Holborn St Pancras, currently held by the traitorous Keir Starmer. Our candidate will be chosen by members of this group and funded by the public to stand against all parties in the constituency. The group is socialist and aim to implement the 2017 Labour Party election manifesto through a concerted campaign against the current leadership of the Labour Party. And that's it. And that's all I can say at the minute. But I'm asking you to please help me. I'm reaching out to Tusk to break through all the parties. I want help. If you think this is a good idea, please contact me. I'm easily available through the website, and let's get this going.